Good morning. When does your business need to invest in a virtual assistant? Our guest today, Suleyka Gonzalez, calls herself a multipotentialite and a virtual assistant entrepreneur. We're going to hear from her perspective, the perspective of the virtual assistant, about what business owners need to know regarding the work that they can do for their organization. Find out how to outsource tasks to a VA during today's conversation. Welcome to the 15-ish minute coffee chat, live stream, and podcast with Anna and Selena. 9 seasons of helping entrepreneurs and small business owners like you build more profitable businesses.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, it's Tuesday in the middle of October. How did the year go by so fast? Like, seriously.
Yeah, I know it. And I just gonna just say this right now. It's cold in Texas.
Yeah, finally.
I know we say finally, right? But this place is like crazy because it's either extremely hot or it gets frigid, chilly cold. So
Yeah,
I went
no.
walking this morning with a hat and gloves, scarf, winter jacket.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I live for that. Me and Anna, of the like wonderful things that make us is I run very hot. So I'm like sweating when it's like 64 degrees and Anna is like in a parka at 94 degrees. Like, you know what I mean? It's like there's no happy medium. So yeah. Yeah, that's our life. Okay, look, I want to let's just get going because I'm excited to talk with Suleyka about this because I think there's a lot of times people don't realize when they can be a virtual assistant or when they need a virtual assistant. And I love that today's conversation can be twofold, right? With her saying she's going to have both perspectives because she can say how being what she does helps her clients or her employer, you know what I mean? But also how she can advise others that are trying to find something to do, for a career. So I'm kind of excited.
And this has been a big topic of conversation, even just between you and I lately, right?
Yeah.
In terms of just, what can a VA do? How do you outsource? How do you let go of that control as a business owner? Like,
right.
Especially as either a solopreneur or a small business owner where you only have a few employees. And again, handing off that control and saying to someone, manage this task for me. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, so I'm excited for the conversation.
Well, there's a trust, right? That you put in this person that they will protect your business. I did learn a long time ago though, that like, look, nobody's going to run your business like you. So you can't put that expectation on a person that is coming in to help you support, your mission, your brand, your whatever. So that way, set the expectation. You can still set them high, but don't set the expectation that they're going to run it just like you. Man, that would be a unicorn, right? When you find somebody like that wants to like, I don't want to sleep. I just want to stay up 24/7 like you and run your socials and get your inbox to zero and all the things. So, okay, let's bring
I want to throw out the quick question though, right?
Yeah. Oh,
anybody
yes.
that's listening right now, do you have a virtual assistant? Like, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Do you already have one? Are you thinking about getting one? Let me know where you're at in this process that we're talking about today. Whether you're actively looking, you're considering it, you're like, no way, I'm not doing that. And, or, if you actually have one. So,
yeah. Well, and are you one too? Like on the flip side, because this is like for the ones that are looking and for the ones that are. So if you are one, drop a comment chat too. And wouldn't that be weird if we actually could make a connection and like comment somewhere on LinkedIn where somebody's looking for one and one is trying to be one? I don't know. Okay. All right. We can jibber jabber all day long. This is like such a great topic. So, okay. This is our wonderful guest today, Suleyka Gonzalez. And I laughed because I said to her, am I saying multipotentialite right? And she was like, yep, you did it. So Suleyka is a multipotentialite, mom of 2, USMC military spouse and entrepreneur. She volunteers in the military community, providing support and resources to military spouses who are seeking employment, pursuing a degree, or trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up. Hi, me too. During her spare time, she freelances as a virtual assistant, providing administrative, social media, and customer service support to entrepreneurs and small businesses. Suleyka uses her LinkedIn networking skills along with community resources and volunteering experience to provide the best services to her clients. I love that. Love it,
I
love it, love
know.
it.
Yes.
So, without further ado, let's just bring her up.
Hi, Suleyka. How are you today?
I am doing well. How are you guys?
We're excited to have this
Yeah.
combo with you. And
We are excited.
And Suleyka is a new connection for me, and this is what I love about LinkedIn is that like she and Anna were connected, and then Anna's like, you need to know who this person is, and I was like, yeah, and then her and I connected, and now we're all in the DMs trying to organize the prep of the show, like we're all old besties, and I love it. You know what I mean? So welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I have to tell you what I love about your bio is you said your LinkedIn networking skills. And I was like, she really is good with that because I feel like I know Suleyka from her posts, but we don't know each other. I mean, we're just LinkedIn friends in that sense, right? So those virtual connections can be really powerful, right?
Yeah.
Super powerful.
Right.
Don't underestimate them.
Never. Okay, let's do a quick little coffee cat. I can't talk this morning. I did a little Instagram reel of Suleyka about us, and I called this I called our show Coffee Chat Espresso, and I'm like, I don't know what today is about, but clearly I need
You had too much coffee
Suleyka in
today.
my life. I know. All right, guys, on 3, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Okay,
Perfect.
cheers. Maybe I need something more than coffee in here for this morning. Maybe that's what I need. I mean,
Hilarious.
all right.
Are we
So
ready to get started on our
let's
conversation?
do this, Anna.
Okay, so I'm just going to preface this by saying when we originally reached out to Suleyka and kind of formulated our questions, one of the things I told her, we're going to kind of go down these two separate lanes today. The first lane is really her answering from the viewpoint of her being a VA. The second lane is her answering from the viewpoint of being a small business owner because she has experience in both of those areas, which I think is very unique, right? And so when we ask these questions, we're just going to say, here's from the viewpoint of the VA, what would you say about this? And so on. So that's just prefacing what we're doing today. So we're going to start with our very first question, which is from the VA viewpoint. What is your niche? What is your niche? What are you an expert in? What is it that you do so well that makes you valuable to a small business owner?
So I will start by saying that I'm not an expert just yet. I'm always learning, and I always, I see someone doing something, I'm like, oh, I want to learn how to do that, But I do have things that I prefer to do, which is administrative tasks and social media management, specifically the LinkedIn space. I enjoy providing customer service, organizing email inboxes, sending invoices. I really do enjoy things like that. And on the social media aspect of it, I enjoy creating posts, engaging with people that comment on a specific person's profile. Maybe they don't have the time to do so. And also something that we provide, I speak for myself, but I think all VAs do this, is we give back time. So when you outsource a task or a project to someone as a business owner, that gives you the ability to either focus on something else, whether that be another project, something for your business, or maybe you want to learn to do something else, or maybe you just want to spend more time with your family. When you outsource these things to people like myself, it gives you the ability to do that.
So you as a VA, so like, how did you decide to start doing this? Is it just something you've always been like, I'm good at organizing or I'm good at managing things in that aspect, so this is a career path I'm going to consider? Like, how did you fall into this?
It just came up on my feed. It wasn't a thing that I wanted to pursue. I was a stay-at-home mom and I was homeschooling my girls. And I just didn't have the ability to, to work a 9 to 5, but I still wanted to make some money. And I opened up my LinkedIn account doing Onward to Opportunity. It was a requirement for the course. And I didn't really do anything with it. I just opened it because I had to. And then someone posted a job and he said, hey, I need someone to help me with this project for this amount of weeks. Is anybody interested? Send me an inbox. And I did. And he hired me on. And I thought, oh, well, this is nice because I can do it whenever I want. I get paid, directly. I don't have to deal with, payroll or anything like that. And then when that project was over, I didn't pursue it. But he said, hey, I really enjoyed working with you. And I would like to keep your name to refer you to other people. And I said, sure, why not? And a couple of weeks later, somebody else reached out and they're like, hey, I need help with this. Do you want to help me? And I said, sure. And the rest is history.
I love how it accidentally happens like that, right?
Yeah.
I have like 10 million questions and I don't know which one to ask. But no, I love that you attacked it, and not attacked it, but you went into it, and then it created this passion bug in you, like, okay, I like this. I like what it gives me, right?
Yeah.
And it was all a learning process too, because some things I didn't know. Everything that I had originally learned was from that initial client, and they're like, hey, this is what we're doing. And then I was curious, like, well, how does this work? How does that work? How can we make it better? And then that opened up the opportunity for me to learn new things and then offer different services as well.
No. Okay. And then I want to go back. You said earlier, I'm not an expert, right? And I totally resonate with how you had said, like, I'm not an expert in a field, but every client I have worked with has made me feel like an expert. So I want to make sure you are an expert to your clients, because you are doing something that they have no bandwidth to learn, or they have no time to do and finish. So they're like, I have this expert on my team that handles it. She's a guru, whatever name they give us, right?
Yes.
But I love it because, like you, I love, like, there's continuous learning in this field, and that just opens up so many potential possibilities for
potentialite. See?
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh, it's like it's clicking.
Yes.
It's clicking.
It's actually Heidi Baker was the one that made a post on LinkedIn about that, and then she tied in the it was a TED Talk, and I was like, oh, I want to know what this is. And that lady was just speaking to my soul, because she's like, it's like when you're good at so many things that you can't just pick one. And I'm like, that's so me.
Yeah.
We love Heidi, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But you know what? Your post is the first time I really remember seeing that word.
Yeah.
I'm just excited. Now I'm going to say it like 10 million times today, so it becomes part of my regular vocabulary.
Okay, so I have a question for you. As a VA, then, when you do this contract work, it's for very specific tasks, then, is what you're saying. So they say, I want you to handle my email inbox. I want you to handle sending out emails, newsletters, and I want you to do this.
Yes.
And so do you find that is the direction, like if somebody wanted to look into working as a virtual assistant, is that kind of the direction that they should go, as opposed to becoming almost like that, I guess, all-encompassing secretary? Or do you see it could be expanding wider and wider to being that personal assistant manager of all the things?
Yes, and it can definitely be that. I know a lot of people that they are personal assistants virtually, like they make travel arrangements, book hotels, send thank you cards. They like handle all these things for an executive. It just depends on what you want to do and how much time you're willing, to commit to it. Because let's say you want to work 6 hours a week, but the person that you're working for might be in a different time zone, and you have to consider, will I be able to give them 6 hours every day at the time zone that they need me to? So it just depends on what you want to do, if it goes with your schedule and with your lifestyle. But the possibilities are endless. There's so much you can do as a VA.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it's an umbrella to say, you do social media, right?
Yeah.
So it's just saying, hey, these are jobs that don't require me to be in the same building as you.
Right.
Right. So whatever I can do virtually in your business, it could, like you said, you could be a client reputation manager and take care of their reviews. You can do their social. You can do their website maintenance. You can do, right? I mean, there's really that word. Sometimes they think it's just sit at the desk and type on a computer, but it's actually so much more.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you can also think of the connections that you make within clients. Like if you know someone that needs something and you're like, oh, well, I work for such and such and they provide this, and then bing, you make that connection, and it's just, it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, no. So I want to say to business owners that are listening, like, oh, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Really like kind of open up what you think a virtual assistant is only supposed to be doing, but that there are anything that can virtually be done in your business. Consider a virtual assistant and look for somebody that has that particular skill, right?
Yeah.
So
and there's a lot, like if you're a creative writer, you can do you can write blogs, you can edit audio videos, you can do ghostwriting, you can do email marketing. If you're into administrative tasks like me, you can do data entry, you can organize email inboxes, you can take minutes in meetings. Like let's say it's a virtual meeting and everyone's kind of talking and they just need somebody in the background to write down, what has been going on. You can do that. Graphic designing, now that you have Canva, project management with Asana and Airtable, like I'm telling you, it's just there's something for everybody.
No, for sure.
I love that list that you just threw out there, because I think a lot of times people are like, well, I don't know if that's going to be something that it only takes me 15 extra minutes per day, or it only takes me 30 minutes to do my this, or, so they stop, but when you throw out all those little things that you do all day long, now all of a sudden, if you hand that off to a VA, now you've got 2.5 extra hours that you spent doing 5 small tasks. And I think we forget that. I know I forget that, right? I just think that's like 20 minutes of my day. It's not that big of a deal. Why would I hire someone to do that, right? This is me as a business owner in my brain. This is the process I have to go through. So I love that you laundry listed out all of those things, because I'm like, I do that. I do that. I do that. I'm doing all of that. That's like 2.5 hours of my day. Like all of a sudden it opened up this possibility, right?
Right. And then the big one too, I'd say for social media, a lot of people, like I focus mainly on LinkedIn, but I know people that have a Facebook and they have a TikTok and they have an Instagram. Like if you're pursuing like a large following and you have a lot of engagement, it takes a lot of time for you to answer every single comment on every single social media space. So when you give that task to someone, it's like, hey, I don't have to do that, or I don't have to check that today.
Yeah.
No, I just want to just caveat on that real fast, right? Is like, and I have this in so many meetings with clients, is like, when you are trying to save pennies, you lose dollars, right? And I think when we are like, we all can do our tasks, but that also equates to time, and time is money. So if that time got you back to get a bigger package, that more than enough pays for that wonderful VA that is helping you in whatever part of your business that you need.
Yeah.
So, and thank you. It's a military life. Yes, Suleyka is.
I love It's the Military Life.
Okay, so our second question had been about the task. So I actually changed it. So I'm springing this one on you.
Okay.
All right. If thinking from the business owner viewpoint, when is it that they should be considering moving to a VA to outsource those tasks? Like, what is that point in their business where they're like, it's time for me to do that? Is there a time, would you say? Is there like an indicator that says, hey, maybe consider a VA at this point, at this stage in your business?
Whenever your business is growing and you are unable to give 100% to your customers or to your product or to whatever it is, because you have so much going on, I feel like that would be a good time to outsource to a VA, because potentially you are damaging your business when you are not, meeting certain criteria or giving your full attention to certain things. So you might consider, outsourcing some of those tasks so you can still give your 100% to your customers and your clients.
That's a powerful statement. You're potentially damaging your business by holding on to those tasks instead of outsourcing them to somebody who can do them for you. I really love that you just said that. I feel like I'm like, fine, I'll do it. Fine.
I mean,
Anna's.
I wasn't gonna say anything, Anna, but I was like, I think Suleyka's talking to you personally.
Seriously,
Well,
Selena's like, let's do this show because Anna, you need to get on board with this. Like, let's go.
So I'll say this, speaking to myself, I am one that likes things done my way. So I like to do everything. But I am unable to give my 100% in every aspect of my life if I am trying to just do all the things. Like I feel like I need to have this control so things can turn out this way. But once I outsource or maybe I cross something off my list, it's like, oh, this is not so bad. And now I'm happy and now I'm not stressed. And now that thing actually got done the way that it needed to get done because I didn't have to do 60 million other things.
Yeah.
No, and then you can end the day not stressed out. Sometimes,
Right.
I mean, you still are going to be stressed out as a small business owner, just because it's natural. It's part of our ethos in the world, right? Of a business owner. But still, I think you can breathe a little easier at the end of the day when you know that you have somebody. I know I have a team, and I could not do all that I could without them. Like I would legit be super lost, and I'm grateful, and they have been the reason why we've gotten other clients to pay, into our monies that we were making, or however you want to say it. So
something that you said too, for me personally as a VA, you said you have a team. And for me as a VA, there are a lot of services out there that, advertise, I'm a VA and I can do this and I can do that. But I don't know if you noticed, but on my profile, I don't really do that because I really like to make a connection with the person. Yeah. Like if I'm going to help you and you're going to trust me with these tasks, like we're going to be a team, and I'm going to give you insight, and you can tell me how to do something better, and I can tell you how, to do something better as well. And I might not have this large following, but I do have a foundation, and I do have, that team and that connection with whoever I work with.
No.
Okay, so before we have this conversation, wait, I'm going to throw the third question up because that is exactly what it is, right?
Okay, cool. Okay, because I'm all about this.
How does a business owner ensure they're getting someone that's going to support their needs, right? So this falls right in line with what you just said. Like that's your style, right? But not every VA is going to be like that necessarily. Right. So I guess let's have that conversation. Like if you're a business owner and you're looking for that person who, what questions should you be asking? What certification, like how do you know that they actually can do what they say they're going to be able to do, right?
Yeah. The first thing that you need to figure out is what you want to outsource. Like for example, if you want to outsource your email, like you don't want to take care of it, you want to hand it off to the VA, it's important for you to communicate with them what type of workspace you use. So do you have an iPhone and you use their cloud space, or do you have Google Workspace and you use that, or do you use Microsoft Teams? Because let's say you hire someone and you're like, hey, I need you to manage my email, and you have an iPhone and they have, Google. Like if you don't communicate that well, it's not going to work out. It's not going to get done. You're wasting your money and you're wasting your time. It's also important to communicate a budget, like how much money am I willing to invest into this person to do this thing, because you can't say like, yes, I'm going to hire you for X amount of money, and then it takes more than that, but you don't have enough to provide that person, to pay that person. And then another thing that I would consider as well is communication. How often do you need to speak with this person? So if you want to talk to them once a week, you need to communicate that before, signing a contract with them, because let's say you want to talk to them every day, but they're only available on the weekends, so you shouldn't hire that person if they're not going to provide that need or the expectation that you have.
So true. And I do want to now go back to that team, not versus, but like Anna, that you're right. Not everybody will like that kind of environment that me and Suleyka like, which is I, for me, and that's just how I've always been as a manager when I worked in the restaurant. Like I'm not a dictator. That's not my style of management. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but those, I just know I've gotten more with my sugar instead of my vinegar, or whatever that analogy is. And I've gotten more from my team when we've worked together, right?
Mhm.
But there was still a clear boundary that they knew I was in charge. But I made it clear that if stuff happens, I was going to handle this at this level, or you know what I mean. But I held everybody accountable. I held everybody like, but I mean, it's what is that? Something trial and error, right? When you are hiring somebody, I mean, it's always you're not gonna really truly know until you start that process.
Right.
Day one, you're gonna be like I said, like, wait, you said you are an email guru, and you're like, yeah, I guess we didn't discuss that. I am Outlook hero, and apparently you manage everything in Google Workspace, and I don't know how to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, you know?
Me and Outlook don't get along. We don't have a good relationship.
Same.
It like always kicks me off or doesn't remember my login. And it's like, Google doesn't do this to me. Google always remembers.
Well, so when you're talking to a VA, then, I mean, I wish there was like a go-to, like, here's 25 questions you should be asking before you hire someone. Like, maybe we need to come up with something like that for real.
There is, actually.
There is?
Yes, I have to share it with you. So, because when you sent that, you sent the questions a couple weeks ago, I never really thought about it. Like, I only thought about it as far as what I can provide and like to make sure that I'm getting what I need to provide a good service. So I looked it up and let me see if I can find the link and I'll share it with you. But there is a set of questions that you can ask to figure out if you need a VA. And then there is a set of questions to ask after you decide to get one, how to look for one.
Yeah, that's awesome because I mean, I know I could probably just Google this and I would come up with 400 different articles like giving me those answers kind of thing. Yeah. But I think it's such an individual thing. And especially when you're an entrepreneur, right? Like this business is my baby.
Yeah.
Right. And so inviting somebody into that space and handing part of that work off to them, not necessarily. So I'm definitely on the team side, right? Like I want to feel very comfortable with that person. There's no way I'm just going to be like, all right, here's my social media, take care of it. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's not gonna work for me. And maybe it doesn't work for any business owner. I don't know. I'm really curious. Like if there's anybody out there that does that, right?
You can also do a trial. That's always good because you never know after having your conversation. You don't really know till you get into it if it's going to work out. So you could do like, for example, let's say, hey, I'll hire you on for 5 hours. Let's see how, you can do with all this. And then if it works out, and it's a mutual agreement, like you can say if it doesn't work out, then you can just end the connection. The same thing with the VA. If they feel like they can't support you in the way that you need, then they can end the contract as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Selena, you're on a mute.
I was excited. So I
that's crazy.
Going
Selena,
back
you're on.
Oh, am I still on mute? Can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. Anna's on mute. I don't know if she did that intentionally. Okay. So I think, when Anna was mentioning, like, I can't just hand over, right? I can remember the first beginnings with my clients, and it was a very like, hey, approve. Do you like this? And now we are at a point where they're like, I don't need to look at anything. Selena, I trust you. You protect our brand. You are part of who we are, so we know, right? But we also have a very open communication in the sense of if something did not sit well with them, they will let me know. Mm-hmm. But I can tell you right now, that's not there because I've really dived in, right? Yeah. Like to what matters to them, what they like. And so I think it's fair to say that first you'll be a little like micromanaging on the process, right? with your new VA. And I think that's just kind of like how it is. But I think eventually when you know that you are growing together and that you like that trust factor is there. Yeah. Then you can let go. Yeah. Right. So.
And this is where you do your research as well. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, I know there are companies that provide virtual assistants. So I don't know how well you can build a relationship with that aspect. But when you just meet a person like one-on-one, if they have a portfolio or if they have, on LinkedIn endorsements, people that they have possibly worked with, that kind of gives you a basis and a background as to who that person is and what type of work that they do.
Yeah. No.
And I'm assuming, I mean, I'm not going to assume anything, but I'm going to say that if I were to reach out to someone and let's pretend it's you, okay?
Mhm.
And I just said, hey, Suleyka, I really need some help with my email. What can you do for me about my email? What kind of tasks have you done, or do you see supporting? How much time would that take you? Like, you should have some of those answers as the VA, right? Like, you should have
Yes.
an estimation of how long it takes you to do certain things. Clearly a base salary or hourly pay that you would be expecting for those tasks.
Mhm.
Like, a lot of that should come from the side of the virtual assistant,
Yes.
And yes, as a business owner, we definitely need to have those things in mind that you mentioned, the budget in mind, what kind of things we want to outsource, what platforms we're working on, and are they skilled in those areas? But
Yeah.
I definitely, and I think this is where I struggle, right? I think about my email and I think it's almost like that onboarding process of teaching someone else to do what I need them to do.
Yeah.
Feels daunting to me. Like, how would you recommend a business owner kind of get over that feeling of like
letting go?
So
what I
you
do,
should sing that song.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yes.
So I do. I provide a report every day to the people that I work with. So if I were to organize their emails, I never delete anything without asking. That's a big thing because I never know. Just because I don't think it's important doesn't mean that you might not think it's important. Yeah. But I, for example, if you have emails that need to be answered within 24 hours, then I have an urgent tab, and I like to color coordinate. So that would be red because I would want you to see it and I'd want you to know right away that you need to look at it. If it's a promotion, sometimes you get spam, then I would create a promotions file and then I would store everything to that file. So this way, when you open your email, you don't have 30 emails that you have to go through. You can decide which one, which file you want to go through first, and then read all the emails through that file. I can also, for example, if you are a product-based business and someone's asking, hey, do you sell such and such in this size? If I know that from your website or from speaking to you, I can answer that for you. And I'll just let you know, hey, John Doe asked such and such, and this is what I answered. So you don't have to go back and do it, but you're also aware of what I did. So if you ever have to open up a conversation with that person again, you know what was said and what was done for that person.
I love that. I love everything you just said, right? Because I think this is the kind of conversation. I feel like we're like role playing right now. Okay, out there, this is the kind of conversation you should be having with your potential VA. Yeah. Right? Like, tell me what you can do for me. Okay, that all sounds fabulous. Like when you said the color code things and then put them in these individual folders, and in my head, I'm going,
yeah. But can I just say I had heard this once, right? Like when you hire a VA, they are an expert in what they do. So the training is really just an onboarding of here's my logins, here's this. And she just told you how she's going to make your life better with a system that she creates for her clients. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes people are like, I must create the system for my, and you're like, no, we hired this email inbox hero to come make me feel better about how to organize my day. And I think, right. And if they come in and go, okay, how do you want this? Then you're like, I don't know. You tell me, how are you going to make my life better? I don't know. I don't have a system. This is why I hired you,
And something else too, like I worked with a client and they like to use Google Docs, and I like Google Docs because it's, you don't have to save it. It just continuously saves on its own. But this person preferred Word documents. And that was just the easy communication. Like, hey, do you mind using, or I gave them both types. And they're like, I prefer this one. And I'm like, okay, cool. Got it. I can do Word documents from now on. So that was, an easy transition.
Is there an expectation that if Google Docs, which is a free program, right, versus Microsoft Word, which is not free, is there an expectation then that the business owner is paying for your subscription to say Microsoft Word, or is this something the virtual assistant would be providing on their own, or is that just a negotiating kind of part of the contract?
It can be negotiating, but for me, since I already have it, then I can offer it. Like I wouldn't offer if they want Microsoft Word and I don't have it, then it's up to them to provide that to me, or they might have to find someone else. If they don't want to invest that type of money in that, then they would have to find someone else that provides that service. But since I already have it, then that's just what I offer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine that could be like a twofold, right? If you realize so many of your clients are Word docs, you're like, okay, it's an investment I'll make for my business. So I can say, hey, I can do that, right? I guess you can look at it in different ways, but.
Yeah.
And a lot of things I use double of, like, for example, I already use Airtable for just my own personal project. And I guess that's something that's kind of fun on my part. Like if I find something new and then I play around with it, I always use it for myself first.
Yeah.
And then if I get used to it and then, you know, I become an expert in it, then I can offer and say, hey, I know how to do this. Yeah.
You sound like Selena right then.
Yeah, I feel like I just met my techie bestie is like right there, like because I love finding new technology that can just make me more efficient, but you know what I mean, and like sharing these tools with like my clients to make their lives easier, right? So I love that you said that.
I love this conversation, Suleyka. This has been so good. Like I really feel like it's like we had some people that were commenting when we posted that this was going to be happening where they're like, oh, I need to tune in because I'm considering this, but I don't know if it's the right time, or I don't know, or in my case, right? Like I've been considering it for a really long time, but that process of letting go and letting the control go and like, and even like taking the steps to start it, you know, have felt very daunting. You're making it sound a lot easier.
You're welcome. And you can always start small, you know, like you don't have to give the biggest and the most important project off right away. You can always start small and then build that trust and then give them another task from there and just continue to build till you feel comfortable enough to give them something that's a little more important to you.
Yeah. I mean, the way you described your inboxes, I'm already like, that just sounds like heaven to me.
No, you did. You shifted her thinking, because Anna and I are perfect conversationalists, and she's like, Selena, why would I hire somebody? I can do my own email. And I'm like, and she's so right though, right? Because that is what probably 90% of the business owners will say. Why do I need? But I can tell you right now, there was a little light bulb for Anna that was like, you know, and for me too, like I do that organization right for myself in Google Workspace, but I'm like, man, if I opened up my email every day because somebody like Suleyka actually got me all like organized, that would give me like a good 15-20 minutes back, because yes, I'm labeling them, but sometimes I'm like, ooh, shiny light object, and I actually click the email to look at it, really look at it, right? And then I'm like, dang it, I was on Sticker Mule and I ordered stickers. Like I didn't wait to open it when I shifted it over to my labeling system, right? Yeah. So I don't know. I think, okay, I'm just gonna go back to the very first. I think the thing that should resonate with anybody is if you cannot serve your clients 100%, or the partners you work with, or you know, the project that you are doing, you should consider a virtual assistant, because it could damage your reputation if you don't have somebody supporting you doing what you do. You know, I think that should just be the first question anybody asks themselves. Like, I'm already going, I'm asking myself again, like, we need to hire somebody for our team. Like, you know what I mean? I've been trying to get my husband, who just recently retired. I'm like, don't you want to be this?
Yeah. So my husband asked me the other day, because, you know, I have this conversation with him and I talk to him about what I do. And he's like, well, do you want to do this for me? And I was like, well, do you want to pay me to do that for you? Because that's going to take my time.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. You know, my CPA, she's so funny. When we were discussing him joining my business, she's like, you know, make sure you're fair, because like just because you're husband and wife, make sure he has his own. Don't put just all the money, because she goes, I'm a big proponent of everybody getting fair Social Security, whatever. I don't know this is why she's here. This is why I have her. So she's like, she goes, don't put so you get all the Social Security checks later on in life, and for him, your husband, it's like, but he worked a zillion hours, and there's nothing in his life to get something. I'm like, okay, I get that. So
love it.
Funny.
I love it.
Yeah. This is such a good conversation. I could continuously go on about it, because I feel like, I don't know.
We can talk about a lot of things. There's a lot to talk about.
Yes. So Anna, are we shifting into are we moving on to a toolkit? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to move on to the toolkit, but this is good though, because the toolkit's going to help too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just flows right along with this conversation. So
yeah. Well, there is two things, and I think we talked, and I know it's not on here, but actually, before we do this, Suleyka has talked about strategic volunteering.
Yes.
And I wanted to just touch on that for a moment, to make that as part of your toolkit before we talk about these two things that are here. So when you talk about strategic volunteering, what does that mean? And how much time is involved with that?
It's all up to you. So for me personally, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Coming off of, when you're in the military, you have this plan, and then the military says, hey, we're going to do something else. Yeah. So your life is kind of all over the place. So strategic volunteering for me is, I chose something that I wanted to do. For example, when we were at Camp Lejeune back in 2018, I wanted to hone in my skills for administrative assistant. So I went to the Red Cross on base and got a position as an administrative assistant, and kind of worked on my skills with them through volunteering. The same thing for right now, I volunteer for IML as an executive assistant. So we kind of learn from each other, and I get to practice the skills that I want to be better at. So strategic volunteering is, you volunteer with the intentions of getting better at whatever the skill is that you want to either get better at or learn new.
Can I just say, Anna, do you know that you and I are strategically volunteering our time to this show? Because it's not a paid gig, but because we have learned so many skills that we can now take our skills that we have learned by volunteering our time to create this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just now finding out I'm not getting paid. What? No, just kidding. But yes, you're absolutely right, Selena.
It's rewarding. It's rewarding though. People think oh, you're not getting paid, so whatever, it's no big deal. But no, it builds your confidence, networking. You meet so many people, you get so many new opportunities. It really is rewarding to be a volunteer.
Yeah, no, Anna and I, you are episode 91, and Anna and I, we have reaped some really wonderful benefits from this show, that if we had listened to that thing that says, well, do you guys get paid? We would have never gotten. Right. And I loved that. So Anna, let's move on to this find your talent, part of our toolkit that we want to present.
Okay. So, basically what we're doing is just when you're trying to identify those skills that you're wanting to tune or explore, this is one of those options right here. Right. So, I Selena, the screen's you see which one's which. So if you want to just tell them which ones are which, and then we can talk about
them. Yeah. Well, here, I'm going to make this bigger. And it's so funny. Okay. So let's see if my mouse okay. So right here is Fiverr. And this is for anybody that's military and not military. Right. And twofold here, I'm recommending Fiverr as maybe you're unclear of what kind of talent you have. Mm-hmm. So go to Fiverr and see what people are actually offering as a service to give you ideas. I do that. I can do that. As a business owner, if you don't have the time, you don't want to go on LinkedIn and kind of ask your connections and your network there. Hey, I'm looking for somebody to support. Go to Fiverr just to kind of start the process and find somebody to do a one-off. Um, right. And then I'm going to let Anna kind of talk about the second one, which is I'm so awful at it. The military one source,
MySeco.
Yes.
So if you are in the military zone, MySeco and Military One Source is a wonderful place just to start.
Yeah.
Learning more about what's available out there. It literally has information on, I think, pretty much anything and everything.
Yeah.
And they really try and tailor it to the military lifestyle, which then gives you like, because, I mean, it just isn't the same as a civilian lifestyle. It's just not. Right. So it really does give you like those tips and tricks and a place to go. And it's not just like finding your talent necessarily. It really is also like support and the networking that we've been talking about in other places. But it will also give you a place to start for like reaching out and connecting with people in your community and in the zone of genius, maybe where you want to be. So we're big proponents, of course, Selena and I are, of networking. And we've been talking with Suleyka about this, right? The whole reason she's been on our show is because we networked and figured each other out, on LinkedIn, right? Which, is our favorite spot to like go and chit chat. So we just recommend that you find that, we recommend that you just find that space in one of these two areas. Go and check out what's available. Go check out what's there. Take a look at like the options that you might have, and then who knows where it can take you, right?
Right. And I will suggest this. I think it's really important to just write down what you've done, whether it's create a Canva flyer for your child's birthday, or maybe you're in PTA and you created something for them. Write down the things that you have done, because what I've found is usually, when I don't know something, I Google and then I get all this information and I feel like I have to do all the things and be good at all the things. And that's not the point. The point is to do this on the side or, freelance when it's available to you. It shouldn't be a stressor. So if you write down all the things that you already know, and then you go onto these websites and find, how people are providing these services, then you can kind of match up what you already know, or you can say, hey, I want to learn how to do that one thing and then focus on that.
I'm high-fiving you like all over the place because yes, good stuff. So go find your talent. Find your talent, like your talent, or find your talent that's going to come in and like save you the time.
Right.
Okay, we're going to move on to, where do you want people to come find you, Suleyka?
LinkedIn. That's where it's at. That's where I party.
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
I'm so glad. Go find her. You just got to go to your LinkedIn, type in her name and connect, Don't be a weirdo. Don't try to sell her on stuff like, hey, do you need health insurance? Like, don't start like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know how you get those all the time?
Yes.
I'm like, this is how you want to make a connection with me? Like,
but I shut them down nice. I say, no, thank you. I'm not interested in that type of service right now. So I won't just ghost you. I'll let you know nicely.
You're so good. I just don't have the time, because then it's like, but tell me why. And I'm like, now I'm committed. Now I've engaged this conversation. And it's like, So, it's funny. We're going to just say this, right? So I know, I bet you it's somebody, hey, Suleyka, do you know an Eric? Is there a husband, or do you know somebody named Eric in your life?
Yes, that's my husband.
Oh, perfect. So he keeps popping into our thing, and I think he doesn't realize that we're like, oh, you are safe. You're safe. You're safe. You can be in and watch it from here. No problem.
I've been kicking him from the studio like nonstop. I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is.
So Eric, if you come back, it's okay. We won't kick you out anymore. Okay, Anna, what's our tip jar?
Our tip jar today. Okay, so this tip today is from Joanna, who is a bookkeeping professional with Enumerista, and Joanna tells us, safeguard your bank routing and account number. A shocking amount of people will send this information via unencrypted emails or other unsecure online methods. If you share such banking information to facilitate ACH payments, consider having another bank account you will immediately move the funds to, so that the compromised account isn't holding any substantial amount of funds.
Yes.
So
Anna and I just did this in the sense of we last passed our information because we contract work with each other, a lot.
Yeah.
And it is shocking, right? How, I mean, I'm sure with you, Suleyka, too. I bet you not even just banking like information, but like super secret passwords for
Yeah.
getting into your Google Gmail. You're like, oh no, like,
invest in a LastPass type application, please. Just for all these things, like it's so important.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be working with a virtual assistant, it's super smart, right? Because then they can receive that information in a secure method, and you have control over.
Yeah, whether they see the password or not, right? Like, because that's an option with LastPass is I've shared things and I'm like, nope, they're not going to see the password because I don't want them to change it, but they can still access my account. So, do the things, guys. All right. Thanks, Joanna, for that great tip.
Yeah.
Gosh, I feel like this whole show has been like filled with greatness of stuff.
Right?
It went by so fast.
I know.
So before we go, you dropped a link in the private chat, Suleyka, the Value VA. Tell me what that is. I'm going to drop it into our comments really quick.
So that is where I found the checklist. So the checklist for the business owner to see what kind of tasks they can outsource to a VA, and then also what questions to ask once they do find a VA that they want to work with.
So good.
Okay, I'm going to drop that in the comments so everybody has it. And then just before we close out, also, I just went to the site just really quick. Their blog section is pretty darn fabulous in terms of like answering your questions that you might have as a business owner. So just take a look at that link. I linked it directly to the blogs, and go there and find it out. Okay. We're closing down our show. I know we're at 15 minutes. Love having
ish.
We're always at 15-ish, right? You probably should have been like 50-ish, but whatever. Next week is a bonus episode. Selena and I, we're going to be taking some time off at the end of this year, just kind of restructuring the home and business life and getting some things sorted out. So we'll be coming back strong next year. So next week we're going to do a bonus episode with a potential mystery guest. We're still working on that right now. So we'd love for you to join us. You can find us as always at annaandselena.com, on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and then as always, your favorite podcast platform, because every single one of these episodes ends up on a podcast for those who like to listen on your morning walk or while you're driving in the car. So we look forward to having you. Oh, and hit subscribe, please. We would love that. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Suleyka, thank you so much from Anna and I. I mean, this was a fabulous conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, no, you dropped a lot of great conversation starters that a lot of people on both sides of the book and should be talking about. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing, but you get what I'm trying to say. But thank you so much. And Suleyka, if Anna actually gets a VA by 2023, we're gonna actually send you like a thank you gift. You know what I mean? Just saying.
My work here is done.
Yes, like you know what I mean. Like
that might have been the whole point of this show, right?
Yes,
is to get Anna to finally make the move. Listen, I feel with the time that we're going to be able to have a little extra time this holiday season, it might just happen because I won't feel so overwhelmed, right?
Yeah, totally. No, because we're always growing. But thank you. We will see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Thank you, everyone.